Welcome back to the Road to Barcelona interview series, where I'm talking to some key figures in the industry. And joining me now is none other than James Haslam, who is Head of Marketing, EMEA and US at Mintegral. James, great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
So kicking things off, looking into your crystal ball, what sort of, and obviously given your experience in mobile marketing, what sort of trends do you foresee in the coming years within the realm of mobile marketing, looking at mobile gaming specifically?
Has anyone said AI yet?
You are the first.
Okay, no, well, I won't. I know that there'll be people who are far more knowledgeable about AI, so I won't dwell on it too much. Obviously, kicking off, in that topic, creative development is sort of, I guess, the space that will be most disruptive and already has been disruptive. Of course, you already see thousands and thousands of creatives already filling the space for better or for worse. And quality control can be something that I think probably a lot of mobile marketers struggle against.
Yeah.
But I think more downwind of that, downwind of the AI trend is obviously teams are going to become leaner. This is something that we won't just see in B2C in the app world. We also see it B2B everywhere. All kinds of marketing is going to become much more lean. So teams will have to kind of reckon with this and get a bit better with the technology that they run and also the ways that they apply it. I think a lot of probably the terms and the ways that we think about AI now, we're going to change rapidly. That's certainly been the case in the last year and will be the same thing in the next. But yeah, the overall impact just means I think people will have to work a little bit harder and get away from the accusations of just running things through AI.
Obviously, the mobile gaming sector, as you all know, is rapidly evolving. There's all these new changes. So this sort of presents both challenges and opportunities. What do you foresee as, and you kind of touched a little bit on this on the last question, but what are the sort of biggest challenges that you see as facing the mobile gaming industry right now? Perhaps you can speak on that from a mobile marketing perspective specifically.
The biggest challenges that are going to be coming, I guess, in the next year. We can of course talk about AI all day.
Right.
But I think it's an old topic, but it's still relevant and it's more relevant than ever. It's globalization. Yeah, for marketing teams, globalization just means, more localization, more understanding of each market, and not just catering to the obvious basic Western markets, just doing everything in the US and then downstream translating that. There's far more opportunity in the East than there ever has been. And there's far more influence that the Eastern countries such as China or Vietnam have on the rest of the world. The case in point, it isn't gaming specific, but if anyone goes to a non-gaming app list or top 10 within the App Store, they'll find that short drama, these short reels that people can watch on the train, they're taking over, they're really booming up. And that's not also to say things like Shein and Temu also taking over shopping space and the kind of ways that they work. Obviously, this applies to gaming in multiple different ways. Gacha is probably the obvious example. And I think that just breeds more understanding. Like mobile marketers in Western markets will have to really understand and cater to those audiences as well as they do here. A classic example of that is live ops. Live ops in Eastern markets is much more demanding than it is in the West. It's almost always on. And customers expect, or users expect, that you will have an offer for them from the moment go. And that's how they'll convert.
Interesting.
So that's, I think, a key point is going global in a way.
And look to the East, I guess.
And see those trends because they're going to be pretty vital.
James, you mentioned live ops as a strategy. So what do you think necessitates live ops in the East so much more than the West?
With live ops strategy in Eastern markets, for example, China, the goal is to make an offer almost as soon as the app is open.
Right.
I think in Western markets, people are much more likely to want the user to experience the app and get invested and build that kind of trust. Whereas Eastern markets is like, nope, okay, spend money now. And that's how people invested in, that's how people become invested in the app's experience because they want to spend money.
Right.
Whereas I think here we probably don't have that appreciation for the audiences. We need to some way have how to build that trust.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And probably, I don't know, maybe apps just feel maybe it's more disposable and people chase faster cycles if things don't work.
It seems like
more aggressive.
From what you're saying, like it's more reactive approach to live ops in the West versus the East, where it's just like a given and it's much more popular and there's much more demand for it.
Right. And it's just much more necessary.
Right.
If you don't have those sorts of elements, then people churn much faster.
Right.
They're not going to get bought in.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, in the West, I think we have a really confused idea of why For example, Douyin or TikTok in China. Yeah. Why people like watching those live stream videos. I think, we have QVC here, whereas they've got, live streamers who do it. But in reality, it's just the deals. They just want to get the best cost. It's driving down the price. That's what, again, I'm tarring with a large brush and people may call me out, but in my experience of talking to my team in China, they like deals. This is what drives their purchase decisions, is pretty much price.
Right.
So if they can get the best price for something, then they'll pay, but it's going to be very low.
James, last question for you here. As a past attendee of Gamesforum Barcelona, what are your sort of top tips for those attending to get the most out of the event, given that we're just a few weeks away?
Right. So aside from talking to, of course, all your favorite vendors, really getting to grips with which talks you want to do or you want to see, because the talks are great. Every single one of them I've been to has been top class, particularly the off the record. Those have always been very instructive in how mobile marketing is actually working, and always prompts questions that I always go and chase the sport after. So that's the most important. And then, of course, it's obvious, but networking is vital. It does attract the best in the industry. For me, it's probably the strongest conference or strongest gaming conference in Europe, and probably also in the US. So I think those two combinations of top tier talks and top quality attendees is the best thing for the industry.
And thank you, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.